Welcome to Faith on Film with Isaac Hernandez and Holly McClure. Keeping you informed on faith and family entertainment.
Hello, I'm so glad you've tuned in to this episode of Faith on Film. We've got two great interviews for you today. First of all, Holly and I had the opportunity to sit with Colin Ford, star of the movie The Hill, also starring Dennis Quaid and Scott Glenn. Now, this movie comes to theaters August 18th of 2023. Then after that, you'll hear from Jason Davis, one of the producers of the movie Paul's Promise. I had an opportunity to just sit with him and chat for a little while. So I think it's a couple of interviews that you're really going to enjoy. But first, let's go right on to the trailer of The Hill.
Tie game, bottom of the ninth. At bat, Ricky Hill.
Oh my gosh! What did you do? Let's go!
Ricky, I've seen you out there swinging that stick, even when you're suffering pain. But you can't play baseball. You're going to get ridiculed, and you're going to wind up with an injury that you'll never get over. God's going to give you a higher calling.
But all I want to do is play. When I swing that bat, I ain't crippled no more.
And gone, Senior Ricky Hill.
He did 4 homers in one game.
Son, you might be better, but you are not healed.
Your bones are rapidly depleting.
It'll be a miracle if you ever walk again.
You seen this? Major League tryouts.
You're going to paralyze him. I don't need you filling him full of false hope. He's my son. Ricky, baseball had to end eventually. Time to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
First time you ever talked to me like a man is to tell me to forget the only thing I ever loved.
What has gotten into you?
He's special. They said he will never walk, and he ran. How many miracles do you need?
You're playing to join the elite.
I'm one of the best hitters you're ever going to see.
A bad leg can cost a team wins and money.
It's all stacked against me.
If you don't try, you're gonna die inside. I want my dreamer back.
All your hopes,
I cannot do this alone.
dreams,
It's your time, Ricky!
determination, and sacrifices have come down to this.
Colin, welcome to Faith on Film.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So good to have you.
Now, okay, so I've read that you're 26 years old, but you've been in like 61 movies. How that averages more than 2 a year. How in the world can you manage that?
Oh man, I got started at a young age. Just got me in there early.
A
You
young
did.
age.
You did, in fact. I loved you as the young Sam Winchester on Supernatural, just gotta say. I watched you on that.
Oh,
and then
thank you.
We Bought a Zoo. I did that junket with Matt Damon and all you guys on We Bought a Zoo. I love that movie. So I've watched through the years. So anyway,
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, Supernatural was just a joy to work on. That was like, it changed my life being a part of that show. So I'm so thankful for everything.
It was a fun show. It really was. You know, your director, Jeff Celentano, he said he wanted to make this like an iconic classic, you know, like a Rudy or Field of Dreams. And we got to say, we love this movie. We watched it and we're like, wow, we love the richness of it. Kind of hard, some of the scenes to watch, but on the other ones, you're just exhilarated. How'd you feel about it now that you've seen the movie?
I fell in love with it. I mean, it's tough for me to, I kind of don't love watching stuff that I do all the time. It's just a personal thing, but I fell in love with The Hill. I've seen it several times. Every time I watch it, it chokes me up for a different reason. The kids are incredible. Jesse Barry, who plays young Ricky Hill, does an absolutely incredible job. The rest of the cast, Dennis was amazing to work with. Joelle Carter, Bonnie Bedelia, she was from my favorite show, Parenthood, growing up. So cool to get to work with her. It was just an incredible experience. It was several years in the making from when Jeff conceptualized it to the time when we got to create it. And my audition process from the time I came on in 2018, 2019 to the time we started filming in 2021, it was just a whole process. I'm so thankful that we got to finally make the film.
And you looked completely probably different from the time you got cast and then the time that it came to doing it, right?
That's right, but it was actually, it was all for the best. A lot of people don't know this, but when I first auditioned, I was very thin. I weighed only 115, 120 pounds, something like that. And then I was too small to play a baseball player. And we were going to have all kinds of movie magic, and I was going to try to gain some weight in the interim time. But we unfortunately weren't able to make the film at that time. And then the pandemic happened, and we were finally able to go in 2021. And at that point in time, I'd done about 2.5, 3 years of weight training and intense eating, and gained about 60 pounds, and all the way up to about 180 when we finally started filming. So crazy.
Wow. Oh, Isaac, I can't hear you.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Isaac.
Sorry. Yeah, I had it muted here for a second. Yeah, you should have called me because I'm very good at gaining weight. I could have helped you with that.
I'm good at it now.
You're good at it now. Now, this movie, of course, is based on a true story of Ricky Hill.
Yes, sir.
And I've read that he's actually still alive and is, in fact, coaching Little League, I believe, over in Fort Worth. Was he on the set helping you maybe to kind of capture who he really was when he was a kid? Did he give you any pointers on that?
Yeah, Ricky, I was lucky enough to get to meet with Ricky before we started filming, and then, have him there while we were on set most days. He would pop by and offer anecdotes, offer stories. He was very vocal about how he wanted his swing to look and how he swung the baseball bat. So we worked on swing, we worked on stance, we worked on limp and run, and he helped me really develop the physicality that was Ricky. So it was a huge, huge asset to have him on set.
Okay, Colin, I have to ask. The father, Dennis Quaid, he plays, you love him, but you kind of not love him a lot through the movie. I really wanted to punch him several times for the way his religious was. Did the real Ricky tell you about his dad? And then, of course, Dennis is a Christian, and he's a sweetheart. We love Dennis Quaid. We've interviewed him, and he's just a cool guy. How was it? Did he give you pointers, or how was it to play that faith element against that super religious spirit element?
Yeah, well, Dennis was amazing to get to work with, and him and Ricky got together, and I know they chatted a lot about the relationship between Ricky and his father. Ricky, clued me in and shared that with me as well. But, to be honest, there was a little bit of nervousness that I had, to work opposite such a great veteran actor like Dennis. He's so prepared. He's so incredible. I have to say, to step up to share the screen with him, I was a little nervous. So I think that lended to the tension between Ricky and Pastor Hill a little bit more, just because I, just making sure I was on my P's and Q's, on my toes every time I was, in the scene with Dennis, just because he's such a legend.
He is.
But he made me feel so comfortable. He was just such a great guy. He was so complimentary to me and just made me feel amazing as a young actor who is coming up in this industry. And just from the perspective of having watched him my entire career and looked up to him and the type of roles he's done. So it was kind of like a dream come true to get to share the screen.
I have to ask you, was it movie magic that you guys did, or did it really happen in real life? Because I know the father in real life would not come to see a game. Did he really show up at a game like they show in the movie? Because it's such a touching moment. That's a
great question for Ricky. I want to say yes. I want to say that's exactly how it happened. Yes, that's how it happened.
We'll just say that's how it happened, okay? But I'm just curious because come on, and I'm not trying to give anything away, but it's a very moving moment, and
for sure,
that involves on the field and baseball and seeing you at your best. And I'm sure that there was something like that with Ricky and his father. There had to be.
And we filmed that fateful scene on Dennis's first day. I don't know if it was my first day, but it was Dennis's first day. So it was my first time seeing Dennis on set. And then we had to have this full circle moment. And I'm like, I'm so nervous. Dennis Quaid's here.
You had to first love him, and then you got to where you were like, oh, I'm telling you, I wanted to punch him so many times in those scenes. I was like, don't be that way to him, you know? And what about the handicap? Isaac and I were kind of wondering, you know, playing the handicap, was that hard? Because, I mean, the younger one had a lot of hard scenes, but you did too.
Yeah, it was difficult to figure out what worked repetitively, what worked consistently. As far as like the limp goes, I didn't want to manufacture this something that just felt inauthentic. So in the efforts of authenticity, I grabbed some rocks and threw them in the bottom of my baseball cleats and would run around the bases with rocks in the bottom of my shoe. And it just gave me that little bit of edge, a little bit of pain that I needed to understand what it meant to, you know, push through a difficulty, push through an injury while still performing at that level on the field. And I think, you know, as much as my feet probably didn't appreciate it at the end of the week, I thought it worked well. So
now you mentioned
you
something
ran
earlier.
with rocks in your shoes.
Only, not every take, but you know, a lot of the times.
I don't know if I could go with one rock in my shoe. I can't imagine that's method acting at its best. Wow,
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Yeah. Now you mentioned something earlier about being nervous in working with such a legend, but you've worked with some pretty major actors before that. I mean, on I Bought a Zoo, you worked with Matt Damon.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was probably just, I don't know, I was 13 or 14 then, so I probably was like just crazy, you know, ready and excited, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's not that I get so nervous that I feel like, oh, I can't do this, but I'm just excited. I'm so excited. Like I said before, like Dennis is an actor I've looked up to my entire life. Matt is an actor that before We Bought a Zoo I looked up to, and still to this day is someone that I consider to be the greatest actors of all time, and someone that I greatly admire. So that experience was humbling for me and shaped me into the person I am today. The nervousness comes and goes, but ultimately I think it stems from a place of excitement.
Well, after 60 something films, I think you got it down, don't you?
I hope so. We'll see on the 62nd.
And looking at the movie now, I just got to ask you, was there a favorite scene that you had that you were kind of like, you really loved how that scene turned out, and you were, you know, and was there a really super hard scene? I know you said about the rocks in your shoes and doing that, but, you know, I always like to ask that, because when you look at the film, sometimes it's those little moments the actors have that are not necessarily what everyone else would think.
No, and I hate to give any like spoilers away, but there's, you know, throughout the whole film, we deal with all kinds of different things, you know, love and loss. And I think that I've experienced a loss. I lost my grandmother when I was like 12 or 13, and it was really tough on me. It was something that I really struggled with. She was really young. It was really sudden. She was only 63 and died of brain aneurysm. So she was a huge supporter of mine. I know that if she was able to see The Hill, she would be so proud and really, really love it. But there's a scene in the film where Bonnie Bedelia's character, who plays my grandmother, is sick, and we're not quite sure what that means. And that was a really tough scene for me, and it was very personal. I just felt really connected to it, and we had to do it several times, but every single time I was just a mess. So it didn't matter how many times they needed to do it. I was going to be completely a wreck every single time. So that was probably a difficult scene, but her memory is a positive memory on mine. So I just think of it as, you know, her looking down, and that was her way of viewing the movie, I guess.
Thanks for sharing that, because that character too, and I guess the real grandmother, she was a strong supporter of you, that character Ricky, throughout the film, throughout the movie.
Yeah, and
she plays an important role.
I think that was probably why it felt so personal, is because I knew that she was one of Ricky's biggest champions, and my grandmother was one of mine as well. So,
are you in LA? No, you're from Nashville, but do you live in LA now?
I'm in Los Angeles right now. Yeah.
Okay. How is it come from Nashville? And I know where you were raised. My kids and grandkids live in outside of Franklin, Tennessee. Nice. So yeah, I mean, they go to Christian schools, and coming out, they left California to go to that because that's what they wanted to raise their kids. How is it for you living in California, coming from it? Is it hard?
No, well, I have to say, I love California. I don't know if I could ever see myself leaving. I love the weather. I love the beach. You can't beat, although I've had some bad weather this year, but typically you cannot beat our weather here. I mean, Florida is great, but got that humidity and alligators and mosquitoes. I don't know. We don't have
So
that.
you're enjoying then the California lifestyle, the Hollywood lifestyle, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I love California. I love the beach, but I go back to Tennessee quite a bit too. My dad's in Nashville and in Knoxville, so we have a house out there, and we do a lot of like lake days and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well,
do you have a lot of family? I'm sorry. I just want to ask: do you have close family or other siblings? My mother is out here, and she lives right down the street from me. I have no siblings. I'm an only child, but 75% of my family is all still in Tennessee. Okay.
Now, I'm sure you're not stopping at 62. Well, actually, I guess this movie is 63 now. The projects that you've been on, but I'm sure you're not stopping at that. You have anything else coming up that maybe you can let us know about?
No, yeah, that's the age-old question, right? No, we have this, we're kind of hunkering down in here in Hollywood right now. Our fellow unions are striking. WGA strike right now, and SAG is a little bit up in the air. But so we're kind of just arm in arm with our fellow union members, looking to see where we can support each other and see how we can get through the other side of this and get back on set making projects.
Oh, well, I know. And we in fact, you're in several series and several other projects. In fact, Isaac, we interviewed some people, didn't we? In one of the movies he was in.
We did. It's actually a series that you were in called 1,000 Tomorrows. And we interviewed the writer, Karen Kingsbury, and her son, and also the, I guess your love interest, one of the main stars of the show.
Rose.
Forget her. Rose.
Yes.
So there's something else that we're pretty familiar that you've done.
Everybody take a look. The Hill, August 25th. 1,000 Tomorrows on PureFlix. In the meantime.
Awesome.
There you go. Thank you so much, and we hope people will follow you. And we just, God bless you and everything that you do. And can't wait to see the next thing you do that we can interview you on.
Thank you guys. Likewise, I look forward to the next time we get to chat again.
Okay.
Awesome. We'll be back with more Faith on Film.
Hi, my name is Colin Ford. I play Ricky Hill in the upcoming movie, The Hill. Thanks for watching Faith on Film.
Well, I am here right now with Jason Davis, Esquire. He's an attorney, and we're going to talk about the fact that he's actually involved in filmmaking. Jason, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. So you are an attorney, but you are actually very involved in the world of films. What was your first involvement in the film production business?
Yeah, so currently I'm a producer, but I got started in the film industry kind of by happenstance, or God just brought me to it. I was working at a law firm in a support capacity in Portland, Oregon, about 13 years ago, and a locations scout came to the firm that I was working at. We were on the 12th floor of a tower downtown Portland, and he said, "Hey, this particular setup is perfect for a scene that we want, and we want to rent the space." So they rented the space from the firm, and then the talent scout came and was looking around and came up to me and said, "Hey, we're going to be filming in your office, and we'd like to have somebody who's familiar with the area to walk around, and you fit what we're looking for. Would you like to be in a movie?" And of course I said, well, who wouldn't want to be in a movie? Of course I would. So I show up, and it's a Saturday and Sunday filming, and I show up, and lo and behold, I'm standing next to, for 2 days straight, Harrison Ford, of all people. Right next to me for 2 days was Indiana Jones, Han Solo, Jack Ryan, Richard Kimball. I grew up watching Harrison Ford, and so to be with him for 2 days, it was just an incredible experience. And it was for a film called Extraordinary Measures. It also starred Brendan Fraser, who was also there in the scene. So I happened to be a featured extra in that movie for 2 days. And I was hooked. That was the first time I was ever on set. It was the first time I'd ever had any exposure to any type of things with the industry, and just the energy and all of the intricacies that go on behind the scenes. It was a massive education for 2 days. I learned so much about lighting and positioning and, all of the different things that go into making a scene happen. And my appreciation for the industry just skyrocketed because I didn't realize how much work actually went into making one scene. So we were there for 2 days, and the scene I think lasts like a minute and a half in the entire movie. So I gained a real appreciation for all of the work that goes on in the background. So I was hooked, and I after that I started doing a lot of background type of stuff and started acting. Was in some commercials and a lot of kind of cable true crime type shows. So thankfully I was always typecast as the cop or the investigator, the dad. I had fun with that, and then after that I've kind of transitioned to behind the camera, doing a lot more of the business side of production and just being a producer. So that's how I initially got started in the industry.
I have been in the film industry. I've been in TV for, 40-something years, but more in the film industry side of it. I'm going to say about 20 years, and I've never had that kind of opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's, it's amazing. I mean, sometimes I've found in my journey, sometimes the best thing you can do is just do your job and do what you feel that you're called to do. Currently, bloom where planted, so to speak. But you never know what God has planned, and sometimes he just brings things right to you.
Well, I'm waiting for that great opportunity like that. But listen, now that was not a Christian film, but then you got involved in the Christian film industry. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So I was fortunate enough to be working with a company called Salt Shaker Media, and we produced a movie called Paul's Promise that came out in theaters last October. And I was a producer on that particular film. That's kind of how I got started in the Christian movie genre, and have been able to make connections with other folks throughout the industry. And I'm currently working on another project that we're going to be filming in July. And so Paul's Promise was a great entry into the Christian movie arena.
Okay. Now, what is your philosophy in approaching Christian movies?
Yes. Well, producing Christian movies is a difficult task because we want to make clean, quality entertainment, but a lot of life is really difficult. And so it's hard to have that balance of having a good movie that I would feel comfortable watching with my daughters, but then at the same time, having a movie that really addresses a lot of life's difficult issues. And I have found that life can be tough, and it can be really tough. And sometimes all you have to do is survive the day. And I want my philosophy and how I approach making Christian movies is I always want to make Christian movies with grit that show that Christ in your life and having His power in you and going through you is enough to meet any of life's challenges. And so I really want to accept scripts and work on projects that have an honest evaluation, not on a dark kind of macabre approach to things, but with a realistic realization that life can be difficult, and that's okay because Christ can meet any challenge. And just like the resurrection, you can't get any more dark than the loss of life. And then, God can even use that for His glory and bring things back to life. So I really want to incorporate that mindset of grit, and that life can be difficult. And there's a lot of situations in life that are very difficult, but that they can be addressed, and there can be a light at the end of the tunnel.
And that's the difficult part about Christian movies is up until now, there seems to be a thought that if it's a Christian movie, it has to be a family movie. If it's a Christian movie, I have to be able to see it with my teenagers, with my kids, with my adolescents.
Right.
And I think that's what's caused for all these movies to be very, how would I call it? Just very tame. There's not a whole lot, like you say, of grit. And I think that's something that we need to somehow, tackle as we create Christian movies is, do we have to make it a family movie, or can we make it something that's really more geared towards the adult population?
Correct. And what we want to do is make quality entertainment that people want to watch, and that as they're watching, they leave with a message of hope that no matter what circumstance that they're working through, that there is hope, and that there is the light at the end of the tunnel.
Now, as we get ready to close this interview, what advice would you give folks out there that want to get into the Christian film side of the business?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. I would say network. Be friendly, reach out, make connections. Always be looking to see what opportunity that there may be for you to serve. And as you do that, you'll make connections and people will remember that. And then when they have a need, hopefully they'll reach back out to you. The second thing is learn. Do whatever you can to educate yourself. Sometimes the best teacher is experience. And so volunteering or getting involved and just helping out is a really big help. And then the third thing I would say is just do the best you can in the job that you have currently. Like I have with my experience, sometimes just being there was the most important thing. Had I have not been in the room or at work that day when the scout came in, they wouldn't have seen me and they wouldn't have put me in that position. And sometimes the most important thing is just showing up and doing your job, doing it to the best of your ability, and just leaving the results up to God.
That's right. Absolutely. The way I got into this in the first place was when I was a teenager. I volunteered at a television network and then eventually got hired, and here I am now.
Good.
So it does work. So if people do want to network with you and connect with you, how would they do that?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram. My handle is at JACE_A_Davis. That would be a great way to do it. You can also look up Searching for the Elephant on Instagram. You can just send me a message, and I'd be happy to connect. And we're always looking for new stories, new scripts, new ideas. And like I said before, I am continuing to network, and so I'm more than happy to speak with anybody who would like to reach out.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Monteverde. I'm the writer and director of Sound of Freedom, and you're watching Faith on Film.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed these two great conversations. Now, remember, if you've missed any of our past episodes, you can always go back and watch them on our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/@FaithOnFilmTV. That's youtube.com/@FaithOnFilmTV. Well, that's it for today. See you next week.
Write to us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Faith on Film TV. Also, go to our YouTube channel, Faith on Film TV, and hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications on our latest Faith on Film shows.